All right, you guys liked the previous piece that I wrote and filmed and put up here, so I figured I would just keep doing it. This is from my Substack. I write these every week, and some people don't like reading, so I thought I would read them out loud on the second channel. But if you want to subscribe to the Substack, I also do an audio version of it, so you can listen to it like an audio book. Anyway, this is it. The title is the YouTube video. Last week, with the help of my good friend Keelan and a little luck, I fooled multiple domestic and global media corporations into printing and posting a completely made-up story about cancer scammer Belle Gibson's new job. The full hoax from planning to print is documented in the video on my main channel. It's very funny. Jumping on the success of the Netflix series Apple Cider Vinegar, a show about the rise and fall of Belle Gibson after she scammed people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars by claiming she cured her brain cancer with vegetables and positive thinking. We knew with the show blowing up globally, the media would be desperate to interview Belle. So we got to work. During the hoax, we also found out a casting director was offering to pay $500,000 for a sit-down interview with Belle. This brings up all sorts of ethical questions about rewarding a scammer for scamming cancer victims, and then pretending to be the good guys for grilling her in an interview that she accepted money for. How many other villains have profited from their acts via a bombshell interview that pretends to expose them for their crimes, but actually pays them, I wonder? The hoax. Posing as a local supermarket worker in the rough suburb of Frankston, Keelan and I spun an obviously bullshit, provably false story about Belle Gibson working behind the deli counter of an IGA, which is a kind of dingy independent supermarket in Australia. As you'll see in the video, this was by far my least planned and most poorly executed stunt. Traditionally, I plan these hoaxes out from start to finish with months to spare. I draw up conversation maps. I have a plan A, B, C, and D. I'll even role play as a journalist to see if I can find any holes in my own made-up story. But the more fake stories I get printed, aired on television, and talked about on the radio, the more I realize that I was not planning my stunts according to what I thought a journalist was supposed to be, but I was not planning them for what they actually are. When I think of a journalist, I picture a hard-nosed, straightforward, intelligent investigator, someone out for the truth and nothing more. At least that's what I used to picture. Now, thanks to a wealth of experience talking to and fooling these people into printing nonsense, I understand the truth. A journalist is not a detective, they're not a fact-checker, nor an expert, or a non-partisan. They're barely even a writer. A journalist is a deadline. They are content machines. An automaton that can pump out slop as fast as a sales team can lock in intrusive ads to surround their poorly researched paragraphs of unverified emotive horse shit. Their story, and I mean story in the fairy tale kind of way, only exists to semi-justify the divisive headline the editor stopped on top of their article to make your boomer parents angry enough to click through so they get served an ad for Hyundai. The soon-to-be replaced by AI journalist, who writes for any Murdoch-owned outlet, is someone who can literally be told to lie, instructed to divide, and will respond with an obedient "sir, yes, sir," because their boss would never be a woman. In my experience, most journalists do not have a desire to research or verify. If they did, I wouldn't be anywhere near as successful as I am. Those that do want to fact-check or investigate are not given the time by their employers. To the bosses, advertisers and clicks far outweigh truth and veracity. Those journalists I almost feel sorry for. Before their spirits were crushed by the almighty deadline, I imagine them as bright-eyed university students who thought they would end up changing the world. They dreamed of writing well-researched pieces, uncovering corruption, or sending shockwaves through the world of politics from their office at the prestigious New York Times. Upon graduating, they discover that that world no longer exists, if it ever existed at all. The only jobs available to a new graduate of journalism school is a glorified stenographer for whatever opinion the billionaire owner wants printed, celebrity upskirt photographer for Eating Disorder magazine, or professional stalker / minority vilifier at a current affair. The big misconception is that journalists lie. And don't get me wrong, many of them do. However, I believe something less sinister but more harmful is going on. Journalists don't give a fuck. They will print anything because most are lazy. The ones that aren't might think they're superior, but despite wanting to and knowing they could do better, they are not given the time to do so. If they accept this lack of time for veracity and research, they are choosing to work in an environment that forces them to cut corners and write poorly. In practice, this makes them no different from the lazy journalist. This, plus the fact that many are freelance with no job security or paid by the story, means that every journalist is competing with people who are far more concerned with being first than being right. And that works very much in my favour. No matter how much praise I receive for getting fake stories published, I need to make it clear. This shit is disappointingly easy to do. Take the Belle Gibson hoax, for example. We told conflicting stories to multiple journos, lied that one of the most famous scammers on earth was working in a customer-facing role behind a deli counter, and waxed poetic about getting into arguments with customers about vegan cheese and meditating in the freezer between unhinged rants about the vaccine. All they had to do was call IGA, ask, "Does this woman work here?" And we would have been fucked. Or so I thought. Because here's the thing. Some of the journalists did. Multiple journos swarmed every IGA in Frankston asking about Belle. And since the video came out, I've even heard from some workers at head office that they were scouring payroll records for a current affair to find anyone who went by the name Keelan, Belle Gibson, or Mel Gibson, as we called her to the journalists. Now, I don't think the guy who made Passion of the Christ also served up ham behind the deli in Frankston, but then again, I have seen a lot weirder in Old Franger. Despite some journalists doing the bare minimum to see if our obviously fake story was a lie, the desire to be first won out, and Women's Day run the lie as a front cover story. That was all the proof that every other outlet needed to run their own version. Sure enough, Belle Gibson hawking vegan cheese to seniors in Frankston was in the Daily Mail, Sky News, Women's Day, and many more publications. The aftermath. A lot has happened since then. Threats from some fooled journalists, good-sported laughs from others. I've even heard rumour of fury coming from the Current Affair building because we accidentally guessed where Belle Gibson actually lives, blowing her cover in Frankston, therefore ruining their chance at being first to break that story. Sorry guys, beat you to it. The main takeaway from this poorly planned yet perfectly executed hoax is that we truly live in a post-truth world. Not even the people we should be able to trust with the news have escaped that reality. So what's the answer to this? Well, we should support trusted independent voices that are vocal about their personal biases, open with their research process, and honest about their mistakes when they occur. If a story comes from a major outlet, you'd better be on high alert, because when I was lying to them, they certainly were not. I think I have the magazine, actually. I'll show you. That's over here. Oh, yeah. I've got a couple back here, actually. One for display and one for the records. Ta-da! Full double-page spread. Anyway, if you like these pieces, I do them every single week on Substack. There you go. And there's an audio version that you can listen to in headphones like a podcast. They've got an app as well. I'm really enjoying doing the long-form writing. As you can see, I've done heaps more recently. If you like these, I'll keep doing them, all right? So subscribe to the Substack, though, because they go up there first. All right, see ya.